What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Some commentary for you. I want to do a video about Axis and Canuck play versus Madden 19 because it's really dominated the conversation the past few weeks. And I guess to a degree, yes, they're football games. Yes, they're on consoles. They're in the same genre. But they're really not directly competing with each other. And I'm taking a look here at just Axis Football 17 as a backdrop for you. But I want to elaborate just a little bit because a lot of people complain, number one, about the graphics. Let me be the first one to come out and say, if graphics are what you want in a game, Madden will be your option every single time. And that's not just in this example. Generally speaking, your AAA title is going to have better graphics. And I'll tell you why. Number one, just a very simple, logical way of following this. One of the things that EA does is goes out and takes multiple pictures of every draftee so they can have this photorealistic face in their game. And that's going to give you the best representation of that player visually. We all understand that. Take 70 pictures of a player's face at every angle, stitch them together, you're going to have a great looking player face. What would Axis and Canuck do in that situation? If they had the time, money, resources, and wanted to do that in their games, who would they go facial scan? Random people off the street to make them in the game? It just doesn't make any sense. So graphically, Madden will always win out. And if you can accept that, or really the sooner you can accept that, the better. Now, secondarily, a lot of people like to make these little smart comments. Oh, this is on Game Boy Color, Commodore 64, PlayStation 1. If you're typing those and you think you're funny, you're not. Because all you are just showing how ignorant you are. These games can't run on a PS1. They can't run on a Jaguar. They can't run on a Commodore 64 or an Atari. For those people who make these accusations where I guess they feel like people are going to think they're veteran gamers and say, oh, this looks like Tecmo Bowl. Actually, it doesn't, because Tecmo Bowl was a top-down game that used pixels. So was 10-Yard Fight, for that matter. 10-Yard Fight actually didn't even show you the whole field. It was half the screen. So the comparisons that people make trying to be funny, it's just more irritating than anything, and honestly, it brings nothing to the conversation. But it brings us to the point of how the games look. And I guess that's where I'm most intrigued. As a community, when we look at Madden, when we play Madden, when we show Madden, one of the biggest issues we have is the animations. Animations seem to dictate everything in Madden. I did a video not too long ago, 20 yards of a play was all pure 100% animations. And that's what we don't want. We don't want a game that we watch. We want a game that we play. And yet when we look at a game like Axis or we look at a game like Canuck and you see kind of this unrefined raw player movement, but know that you have complete user control of it, it's strange that people get taken back by that. Because ultimately, that's what we want. Now, don't get me wrong, they've got light years to go in terms of player movement. Certainly, it needs to be smoothed out and refined a little bit, but we want that raw, unfiltered control because Madden has taken away from it for so long that we now have a game that looks very smooth animation-wise, but we don't have a game that represents user control in football. For that matter, if we want to talk about comparing Madden, we're still trying to compare Madden to All-Pro Football. So it's strange to me that people are willing to make such a great comparison to an independent game that's maybe 3, 4, 5 years into a cycle and Canucks play even less, yet not willing to take that same step to say, well, why isn't Madden doing things better than All-Pro Football or NFL 2K5, which are now irrelevant to the point that 2K is not making another game, but the games are 10 years old. I mean, for that matter, Madden should not have anything not in their game that Axis or Canuck has. Why does Canuck have a play editor when Madden doesn't? Why is Axis blatantly focusing on franchise when Madden won't? I mean, those are the real questions that need to be asked, not trying to stumble around why Axis doesn't look as great or why Canucks player movement isn't what we expect it to be on a PS4. So it's just an interesting time to see these opinions in the community because I don't fully understand where some of them come from. I wish rather than you guys posting, oh, I can't wait to get this on my Atari, you would post what the real issue is. Because I promise you, maybe you became desensitized to this with the way EA works in a corporate structure where you may not have the direct line to a developer, where maybe I may not have that same direct line anymore either. I don't know. I do know that I do know that those developers, not just Danny at Axis, but also David at Canuck, they go and they read the responses. They respond to some of you in many cases, and they want your feedback to make their game better. But you have to give them something to act on. Telling them their game looks like it belongs on a PS1 isn't helping. They know the game needs refinement and player movement, I assure you. But don't get upset about player movement when the end result is more control and you haven't even played the game. Love to know what you guys think about this. Appreciate you checking it out. I apologize if my mic isn't as clear. Guess what I broke? I broke my Blue Yeti, so I went back to my Snowball. Hopefully they'll warranty it. I don't know what happened. But I appreciate you guys listening through this. I'll be back in the week with more commentary.